You're listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. The show that gives pastors and church leaders the clarity they need to protect their people, property, and ministry.
Welcome back to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance, Protecting Texas Churches. I'm your host, Ron Wadley with Insurance for Texans. We help church leaders protect their people and property with wisdom and clarity. In this episode, we are talking about an important way for churches to manage rising insurance deductibles. Charles learned about his church's high property insurance deductible the hard way. After a major hailstorm rolled through Frisco, his church was left staring at a damaged roof and contemplating a deductible that felt almost unreal. Charles had recently stepped into the role of finance leader, inheriting an insurance policy that had been purchased in a hurry after a non-renewal. The church didn't love the price, they didn't love the terms, but at the time, getting coverage at all felt like a win. That sense of relief vanished when the claim process started. The deductible on their property policy was 5% of the building value. For a $1 million building, that meant the church would need to come up with $50,000 before insurance paid anything. For a congregation already feeling stretched, that number landed like a punch to the gut. Charles wasn't upset that insurance existed. He understood why coverage mattered. What frustrated him was realizing how exposed the church really was. That moment sent him looking for options for better terms before the next storm came through town. That's when he learned about deductible buydowns. A deductible buydown, sometimes called a buyback, is a separate policy designed to reduce how much a church pays out of pocket when a weather claim happens. It doesn't replace the main property policy, it works alongside it. In Charles's case, it meant taking that 5% hail deductible and bringing it down to something far more manageable. Instead of scrambling to raise tens of thousands of dollars after a storm, the church could plan ahead and smooth out the financial shock. For Texas churches, especially those in hail-prone areas, this has become one of the most practical tools available. Deductibles have risen dramatically across the state. Flat deductibles are disappearing. Percentage deductibles are becoming the norm. And the bigger the building, the bigger the risk. A buydown doesn't eliminate cost. It shifts it into a place where it can be planned for ahead of time. Charles liked that it gave him a better sense of control. Premiums were still high, but now the church wasn't one storm away from a financial crisis. The budget could absorb the added premium far more easily than a massive deductible after a hail event. That balance is what matters. Buydowns aren't automatic, and they aren't available in every situation. They have to be structured carefully. Coverage has to be coordinated properly. Policy periods need to line up. And they only work when handled by someone who understands how church insurance functions in Texas. Not just a general commercial insurance agent, but when they fit, they can change the conversation entirely. Instead of asking, how would we survive the next storm? Church leaders get to ask, what level of risk makes sense for us? That's faithful stewardship in action. At Insurance for Texans, this is exactly the kind of conversation we have every day. Through our True Texas Church Insurance program, we don't start with quotes. We start with understanding how a claim would actually affect your church's operations. From there, we look for creative ways to reduce exposure without sacrificing protection. If your church is staring at a deductible that keeps you up at night, it's time to talk with someone who understands the full picture. Connect with our church insurance team at insurancefortexans.com. And if you want a broader framework for navigating today's church insurance environment with confidence, I encourage you to get a copy of our book, The Promise of Certainty, at thepromiseofcertainty.com. I'm Ron Wadley, and this has been Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance Protecting Texas Churches. Until next time, steward well, plan wisely, and protect what's been entrusted to you.
Thanks for listening to Faith, Stewardship, and Insurance. Until next time, remember, insurance isn't just about policies. It's about safeguarding the mission God has called you to lead.